What's up, y'all? It's your girl Shayla Ray. Welcome back to 2 Cent Tuesday, where it always goes up on a Tuesday. Just know. So last week I received so much love. I just want to thank everybody, and please continuously support 2 Cent Tuesday. Give me your feedback, your comments, and we're just gonna continuously make it better and better and better. So today's topic is something that really resonated with me. I feel like I was truly tested in this area just last year. And I just wanted to share some of the things that I've been meditating on, some of the things that I've been thinking about when it comes to this particular topic. Because if this topic isn't aligned, none of that other stuff matters, okay? Your goals don't matter. Nothing else matters if this is not in control. And yes, you have guessed it, it's forgiveness. I feel like forgiveness is a word that we just toss around. Yeah, I forgive. Yeah, that's what I do. We know it's a biblical word. We know it's something that is truly for us. But it's one of the most challenging things that any of us can ever do. Right? I'm sure we've all been down that road and will continuously go down that road that is truly winding and challenging. Okay, so I want to give some tips to help you and to help myself heal and grow and forgive. Okay, so I look at forgiveness kind of in stages. So the first stage is the stage of anger. That's where you have no forgiveness in your heart. You can't even think about forgiving, right? It's a really challenging stage. It's usually the first time something has happened, but not necessarily, because sometimes you can be in it for 10, 20, the rest of your life. You can be in stage one, where you are always angry, where you are always resentful, and where you never get past whatever the situation is, right? Now, stage two, that is the stage that you say yes to forgiveness and you're working towards doing more to figure out how you can actually forgive. And then stage three, that's where you have arrived, right? You have arrived to peace and harmony. You can talk about it. There's no shame, but don't get it twisted. Do not get it twisted. You have not arrived to stage three, okay? Stage three, you could be in stage three and you can go all the way back to stage one if the work isn't done. I compare it to something like weight. You can lose 20 pounds if you do everything that you need to do, but if you fall off and you don't continue with the work, that 20 pounds is coming back, right? So it's something that is ongoing, and it's never something that is done, which is what really makes it hard. So I have 5 tips for you that I think is really going to help each and every one of you get to stage 3, right? Which is always the goal, and stay there. Okay, so the first one is say no to revenge, right? Revenge, it feels so good, don't it? I think of Jasmine Sullivan busting windows out of cars. Like, oh my gosh, the adrenaline that you probably get from that is just amazing. But no, revenge is the absolute worst thing that you can do. You really need to be mindful of what you say and what you do. And it makes it especially hard because you're already angry. When you're angry, you have a tendency to do things that you wouldn't even normally do. So it's very challenging to bite your tongue, watch your actions, and it could be something from something big like Jasmine Sullivan, or something so tiny as subliminal messages on social media that will just continuously put fuel on an already lit fire. The best thing that you can do when you are angry is hush. Think about it. Take a step back, pause, and think before every action. I know when I've been in some of my angry moments, I will send text messages or I will call a family member and say, hey, should I say this or how should I? Because I'm not thinking right. I'm not in my right mind during that stage. So ask for help before you make any decisions, because whatever you say or whatever you do will be done, and you will not be able to take it back, and it will be a lot harder to get to forgiveness, because as far as you take it is as far as you're going to have to bring it back. So less is more, okay? Now for tip number 2, you have to say yes to forgiveness. Forgiveness is a choice. We all have the option. But in my opinion, it's not an option. It's something that we all definitely need to do, but it's a choice each person makes. You know, people who can hold a grudge forever, carrying all those bags heavy around with them, always angry, always upset. We know what those people look like, and you have to make a decision that you do not want to be that person, and that you're willing to do whatever it takes to not be that person, okay? And so make sure that you know that you are in for some hardcore work, okay? For tip number 3, and this one, they're all hard to me. They're all things that I'm going through and gone through in the past. But you have to acknowledge your pain. Acknowledge your pain, because guess what? We've all been hurt by somebody. We've all hurt somebody too. So it's not just one-sided. But we're so hard. Oh, yeah, I don't care about them no more. I don't want them to be my friend anyway. I am not even thinking about him. I mean, we was only together for 7 years. I don't want him no more. That's a lie. That's a lie. And your lack of vulnerability is creating something that is false, that is not allowing you to get to the next stage, which is healing. So the first part is acknowledging, and the second part is healing. But you have to acknowledge in order to heal. You were hurt. It's okay. You felt betrayed. You trusted somebody. You gave somebody your all, and you got nothing in return. Come forth and say exactly what it is so that you can allow yourself to heal, okay? On to step 4, and this one, it's a doozy as well. Accept the fact that you may not get closure or even apology, okay? I've been there so many times, I can't even tell you how many times. I think we all do this. We almost sit on our forgiveness, and we're not willing to forgive because we didn't get closure or we didn't get an apology. And I know sometimes it's hard to forgive somebody when you didn't get closure or you didn't get an apology or you didn't get the things that you expected to get. I know it's really challenging, but you still owe yourself and you still owe that person forgiveness regardless. You cannot use that as a catalyst or an excuse, okay? So regardless of whether you receive closure or not, you must forgive. And for my last tip, which is definitely not least, it's really challenging as well, you must empathize and have compassion for your offender. Now, when you actually heal from some of the things that you've gone through, it's a lot easier for you to have compassion and for you to see somebody else's pain, right? Because when you're in pain yourself and you're hurting and you're focused on your pain, it's foggy. You can't see the other person's pain. But guess what? If they hurt you, they were hurt, okay? And hurt people hurt people. And you have to come to grips with that. You also have to acknowledge that just because you would do something doesn't mean that another person would also do the same for you, okay? People have different walks of life. They've gone through different things. We all have that have brought us to where we are today, and maybe they're not here or they haven't arrived there yet. Now, it doesn't mean that you need to be their friend. It doesn't mean that you need to feel like you need to save them, because sometimes the best thing you can do is take a step back and pray for that person. And there's really nothing more that you can do, because forgiveness doesn't equal friendship, or forgiveness doesn't equal relationship. It's just coming to peace with whatever it is that damaged you or hurt you, okay? So let's run back over our 5 tips really quickly. We'll do our next 5 tips on this next week, so make sure that you stay tuned for that. We're gonna dive a little bit deeper. So tip number 1, say no to revenge. Tip number 2, say yes to forgiveness. Tip number 3, acknowledge your pain. Tip number 4, accept that you may never get an apology or closure and still walk towards forgiveness. And 5, make sure that you are exercising your empathy and compassion and love towards your offender. That's all I have for this week's 2 Cent Tuesday. Can't wait for you to tune in next week. Please continue to comment. And I just have one mission for all of us. Keep growing, keep sewing, and keep glowing.